The coronavirus takes a heavy toll on the Chicago Police Department. 237 employees have tested positive for COVID-19. More than 8% of the workforce is out sick. And tonight we are learning more about the second officer to die from the virus. CBS 2's Marissa Parra joins us live from Area Central where he worked. Marissa?
Jim, ribbons around trees are just another way the precinct is showing grief after Chicago police suffers yet another loss. 56-year-old Sergeant Cliff Martin tested positive for the virus last month. It claimed his life on Friday.
It's with great sorrow that I am here to announce that Chicago Police Department has lost a second officer from complications related to COVID-19.
A 25-year veteran, Sergeant Cliff Martin was described as a Chicagoan through and through, but COVID-19 cut short his favorite job of all, his role as a father.
Cliff would even send his kids a police tip of the day.
Two of his three kids ended up following their father's footsteps to become officers.
When he tested positive, his first words were that he was concerned about his family. He wanted to tell me about his children. And he wanted to tell me how bad he wanted to come back to work. What a tremendous heart, and what a horrific loss.
Tributes this morning paint a picture of a humble man. Even in his final moments, he was heaping praise on others.
It was Cliff who said that the doctors and the nurses are the real heroes who are doing God's work.
There will be no hugs of comfort for Chicago police. Grief in the time of a pandemic is felt and shown from a distance. Throughout his life, Sergeant Martin cracked hundreds of homicide cases, but understanding the case behind his own death and how he got the virus will never be a case closed.
Unfortunately, this is a very, very difficult murder to trace.
The virus has now claimed the lives of two of their own. His mourning widow wants his death to serve as a warning to others.
And even in her grief, she said that her husband would want his death to serve as a warning to civilians that they must stay home. And when you do gather, you're not only putting yourselves at risk, but you're putting our officers at risk as well.
When asked about PPE concerns within Chicago Police Department, Interim Superintendent Charlie Beck listed the numbers of PPE that he's given out within the department, pushing back against claims that there aren't enough, saying, quote, people want some magic protection when really there is none. And as for those 1,000 members who have called out sick within the department, we should point out and remind you there's no way to know just how many of those are actual COVID-19 sick calls. But in today's world, there's just no room for taking any chances. We're live from Area Central. I'm Marissa Parra, CBS 2 News. Jim.
Marissa, thank you. Officer Marco DeFranco was the first Chicago police officer to die from COVID-19. His family held a private funeral service in Norwich on Thursday. Police officers paid their respects from their cars during a procession to Des Plaines. Officer DeFranco worked for CPD for 21 years. He most recently was an undercover narcotics detective.